Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm just going to be doing like a little tips and tricks video of how to get out of silver and gold. And I'll be giving you my insights. Obviously I've been radiant numerous times and I've had experience playing in every rank, so I do know like what is different about each rank and how you can get yourself to that next level from wherever you are. So let's go. So the first tip and probably the most important tip is just to warm up before every game you play. So whether that's just going in the range and just practicing your aim on these bots, just clicking slowly, not too fast. I don't recommend doing it too fast because you're not going to build that consistency that you need. Then you can practice your spray in the bots as well. Just really get used to playing with the gun, because obviously if you're in silver especially, you're still somewhat new to the game, although you have the core basics, like you know the objective of the game, you understand about, accuracy when shooting and being still. So it's all about just refining that and taking it up a level. So yeah, you just go in the range, practice your strafing between these bots, really getting that clean movement. An exercise I actually do like to do is I like to, pick a bot and just practice strafing and tracking the bot's head. You can kind of practice, switching targets as you get like better at it, like what I'm doing here. You can kind of line up two bots and just like flick to them, like so. And if you really want to just practice your like pure mechanical aim, a good way to do that is with jet knives. And you can constantly just updraft, try and just get like 3 or 4 in the air or whatever. So yeah, it's just good to like practice, constantly warm up before playing. You're going to be playing better in your games, and if your aim's feeling good, you're going to be out aiming the people in your rank, which will lead you to ranking up faster. So yeah, just warm up before you play. That's the first tip I have. The second tip I have now is to start learning some basic game knowledge, and by that I mean what all the roles do and what sort of works best for each map. Kind of. I don't think you need to understand the meta yet. I would just learn an agent you're comfortable on every role for each map, and I'll go through. So the 4 roles is obviously Duelist, Initiator, Controller, and Sentinel. And you might think that it's a bit basic, but trust me, I'll explain. So with a Sentinel, that's designed to hold a site and maybe lurk and try and gain space in other areas, and it's used to give you information on whether people are flanking and whatnot. And Initiator is mainly used for flashes, stuns, and recons, and there are different agents that suit this best. So Initiator is quite a wide variety of agents to play. Obviously, Jewelist are for entering and getting those first frags of the round that can lead you into easy situations to play the round out. And obviously, smokers are used to take space on the map and smoke your enemies off so they can't see you, so you can take further space. So obviously, you know how all of those sort of agents are important to winning you a Valorant game. So firstly, explore what playstyle you are and what suits you best. I notice most people when they start in the lower ranks of the game like to just pick Jet or duelists mainly, and I notice a lot of people like to have a really wide agent pool in lower rank, which I think is a trap, to be honest. I think if you're trying to play too many agents and you're in a lower rank, I think you become way too distracted with your utility and you tend to, neglect your mechanics a little bit. So for now, I just suggest picking one agent for every role on every map that you can fill, especially if you're gold. This is a tip for more of the high gold players that you can fill, and sort of learning and being comfortable on playing multiple different roles, because there will be a game where if you're a jet one trick, your jet will get insta locked and you might have to play someone else. For example, you might have to play, I don't know, a sentinel instead. So let's say you want to learn how to play Cypher instead. It's good to have a couple setups on hand for the map you're playing on, or if you're playing chamber, it's good to just feel comfortable on whoever you're playing pretty much. So it's good to learn one agent on every role and learning how to apply it to every map you're playing. For me, I'd say if you're kind of on the cusp of gold to plat sort of area, you can start to explore what's meta for each map and kind of being comfortable around that. So yeah, I would say somewhat widening your agent pool, but limiting yourself to what you're comfortable on and still focusing on improving mechanically is my second tip. The third tip I have is just working on your communication and working on your callouts and learning what to call out for each map. So let's say someone is playing tree on A, you have to tell your team where the enemy is, and also start comming your utility before you use it. So for the first communication tip I'm going to be giving you is to stop backseating your teammates when they're clutching, because this isn't going to help them, especially when they're this level. The only two things I would reckon communicating to them when they're in a clutch is the damage you've done to whoever's still alive, and if they only have like 3 bullets in their gun and they clearly don't realize. But don't tell your teammates what to do when they're like clutching, because that's just going to cloud their judgment and it's probably going to end up in a toxic argument and that round being lost in the end anyway. So yeah, don't stop backseating. The second tip I want to give you guys for communication is to press tab, and as you can see an ultimate section and you can see credits. And for this level, your teammates aren't going to be doing this, so you want to com to your teammates what ults the enemies have every round and how they can play around those ults and how they can use those ults so you can play the round and plan it a little bit better. And also look for their credits, because then you know when they're on an eco and when they're forcing. And I know a lot of people don't do this, so I just thought I would get it out of the way and show you. So yeah, that is another tip. So prior I mentioned, picking an agent for every role and getting comfortable to playing that agent, but I'm going to expand on that, and I want you to start learning what the ideal necessities for a team comp is. So you'll obviously need a smoker, you need a duelist that can push, you need an initiator that can have a bit of recon and give you a little bit of information, such as Fade, Sova, or Sky. And with Sky, you can get flashes. You need a sentinel for every map, I would argue, in ranked. And the fifth is a flex, and you can adjust that fill spot to whatever you sort of need. So if your team are lacking flashes, you can play a flash agent, you could play a second duelist, you could play a second initiator and double up on initiator, or if it's an extra defensive map, maybe you want another sentinel to cover off. If you're playing icebox, you can have a sage or something to pair up with the killjoy and whatnot. So yeah, you can have that and get that knowledge of just what you need in a comp and what the necessities are. So flashes, recon, an entry, a sentinel, and a smoker. Usually what you want, those are the 5 key components to a good team comp on any map. So yeah, learn that and you'll be fine, and you can then adjust your pick according to that sort of guide. This tip is going to sound very repetitive, but even in silver and gold, you might think you have this worked out, but you don't, and that is crosshair placement. Everyone's crosshair placement below, even I'd say low MO, high ascendant have decent crosshair placement is bad, and I tell you it's bad. Sometimes I guarantee you, if you're, not focused and you clip your game back, there'll be several moments in the game where, you're looking like me in the range and you're kind of aiming for the body and you're not thinking about where you're placing it. Always be thinking about where you're placing your crosshair at all times. Make sure it's head level through every elevation. If you're struggling with elevations, there are some markings like these boxes that can help you place your crosshair, and you'll get used to it the more you think about it. And then soon, I'd say after maybe a few weeks of doing this and playing every day or every other day, you will start having good crosshair placement without even needing to think about it. It'll probably still be a little bit bad sometimes, but it won't just be fully AFK in the brain, looking like a zombie, kind of not really paying any attention to where you're placing it. But yeah, please, please, please focus on crosshair placement, because it will get you so far, it'll get you so many free kills, and you'll be able to win so many gunfights in these lower ranks and just climb your way out, honestly. Another tip is to plan out every round before you play it and constantly switch up what you do. Because if you have an agent and you get comfortable on their utility and you think you have a way to use your util to maybe get a few kills, for example, using like a Sova Dart ult combo, if you have your ult, you can get yourself a lot of free kills, and it will help your KD, it'll help your RR gaining, and it will help you most importantly to win rounds for your team in the game. So yeah, constantly plan out your rounds. If you're playing Jet, think about where you want to play up. Make sure you're not playing in the same place every time. Think about where the enemies could be smoking you. So let's say you're going to hold up from CT. As you know, everyone smokes off CT in every map, every game. So probably not the best idea. You're not going to really see anything, playing in a smoke the whole time, unless you're cheating, which I doubt any of you are if you're silver and gold. No offense. But yeah, constantly just think about how you can catch your enemies off guard. Think about how you can play for yourself and bring the round down and bring their numbers down to give you an easier chance of winning the round and winning the game. Because I guarantee you, if you plan out your rounds, try and get it down to a 4v5 of whatever util you have, or you comp something with your teammate and you want them to play off your utility and they manage to make a play from it, your win percentage will go through the roof in these ranks. Because honestly, people don't know what they're doing. People don't understand the game one bit, and they're not going to know what to expect. So it's just going to be like shooting bots in a range if you can plan out a round properly. So yeah, that's my other tip. Despite what I've told you in previous tips, this next tip you might think will contradict what I say, but I'll explain, and that is to lock Jewelist. In these ranks, if you're playing Jewelist, not only do you get into more fights, which is going to lead you to getting better quickly, you have more control over the outcome of the game, as you're the one that's going to be entering, and you're the one that's going to be, able to peek and get into those fighting situations where you can lower their numbers down and lead your team into winning the round. But also, being comfortable on other agents could allow you to com what you want from your other teammates, because you'll know what to do on those agents as well. Like if you get comfortable on KO, for example, and you know a good KO flash your KO could use to help you support your entry, you can tell him to do it and you can show it to him. Or if your Brim isn't smoking properly and you know where to smoke for that map or whatever, like you can tell him where to smoke. Or if your Killjoy's turret or Cypher's trip is bad, or it's too high or too low, or not watching flank properly, you can tell him these things. Because this game is also a babysitting game. So if you're on Jewelist, you can obviously have more potential to carry your team and get your team winning rounds and lowering the enemy numbers. If you also combine that with the previous tip I gave you of gaining more knowledge on the game and just learning a few different agents, you can actually and help win your team rounds by telling them what to do with their util. Because as I said, this game is a babysitting game. But for Duelist, I recommend playing in ranked. Jet is one I recommend because Jet can be translated to any map, although she does have maps where she's meta on. Raze is a good agent as well, very strong, even despite the nerf. The nerf wasn't really significant anyway. Phoenix is a really good agent for ranked because you can very much play for yourself with his flashes and his wall, and obviously you can heal yourself. And if you just farm orbs on Phoenix, you can just win your team rounds. You have 2 lives basically, and Yoru's a little bit harder to master. But if you can master Yoru, when you want to go down the different route, you're going to be able to catch a lot of people off guard with your plays. So yeah, if you're going to play Yoru though, make sure you're playing Yoru right, and make sure you have everything, all your utilities set, where to flash, good TP lineups, multiple for every site, so you can constantly switch them up. So yeah, Yoru's also a good agent. And the last one I wanted to address is Reyna, which I'm going to be doing a full guide on soon, because a lot of people don't play Reyna correctly, even though Reyna is literally the easiest agent to play in the game. But if you're playing Reyna, in this elo you can get away with it if your aim is good enough. But in higher elo, you're not going to be able to get your entries proper with Reyna. Reyna's more of a secondary duelist, to be honest. You can flash out for your Jet or something to entry off of, and then you can play. So Reyna's not really an entry duelist, so you're going to have less control over the game if you're playing in a lobby where everyone is kind of similar skill level to you. But if your aim is better and you're feeling it, obviously Reyna is a good pick because she's a really good agent for smurfing on or for playing against, lower skilled players. So yeah, that is my second kind of point on Reyna. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a little Reyna guide soon on all maps, not just a specific map. So yeah, look out for that as well. The final tip of the video for any silvers and golds out there is to work on your strafing and just, again, practice what I said in the last video about how to get out of iron and bronze, and just try and work on your movement and strafing in between gunfights, because it will make the world of difference when you're actually fighting someone for real. Because they're not going to be able to hit you. Mark my words. Like, eventually we'll get one player that will hit a nice shot, but for most of the time, they're not going to be able to hit you. So constantly work on your strafing and your movement. Obviously, I'm going to do a more advanced movement video soon, and I'll be explaining sort of briefly in a video about how to get out of Plat and Diamond, which I'm going to be doing soon. But just work on basically just trying to strafe in between your shots and making it nice and controlled, and try and just tighten it up a little bit and work on your timings. So yeah, that's the other point I'm going to give, and that's the last point of the video. So that I'm going to conclude this video here. These are all the tips you need to progress yourself out of silver and gold and get into platinum, in my opinion. I'm going to be doing a video on platinum and diamond soon, as long as the Rainer guide, so keep in touch for that and stay tuned. If you found this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe down below, and thank you. See you again next time. Peace.